r/ask Reddit by Redmond Dts. Chefs of Reddit, what's a common cooking rule everyone follows that is actually complete bullshit? Treating recipes like gospel. You're allowed to change what you do to fit your tastes. You can add a little less onion to the soup if you want, or substitute that habanero for a jalapeno, or just nix the cilantro, or whatever. If it tastes good to you, and maybe even the folk you are serving, I don't care what Alton Brown has to say on the matter. Also, watch Alton Brown, the guy's phenomenal. I always cook a recipe as is the first time just to see, and then adapt to our flavor preferences. I'm a good enough cook that I can adjust other recipes, but I'm not great at inventing my own. The only knife skills anyone realistically needs is how to properly hold a knife, so you have better control over it. Your average home cook isn't chopping 5 onions, a whole stalk of celery, and so on. Is it nice to get them done quickly? Sure. It's all about going the speed you're comfortable with though. You don't need chef knife skills, just well enough that you do it right and safe. Adam Ragusa did a video on this, and his sped up B-roll shots show him with his fingers flat and in the way, speeding through the cutting dangerously. Slowed down his methodical and making a cut maybe every 3 seconds. Not really a rule per se, but a lot of home cooks have an issue with seasoning. They're afraid to season that shit. Most people already know this, but searing meat to seal in the juice is a total myth. Searing is great, just not for that reason. Former cook for what it's worth, but people being afraid of MSG. That was rooted in anti-Chinese rhetoric and hate. MSG is fine, and makes nearly everything better. I use it like salt, but usually use less than I would with salt, because it's fairly strong. Washing chicken does the exact opposite of what you think. It spreads harmful bacteria all over the place, instead of having it quarantined to one area to be cooked off. Today I learned some people wash their chicken. When I worked at a pizza place, it was more effective to work without gloves, because the cross-contamination was worse with them on. We would always have a wash sink close at hand too to make keeping hands clean easier. Oh, I remember this from COVID. Not in the food industry, but I had co-workers who wore the same pair of gloves pretty much all day long. Or one for before, and one for after lunch. They weren't washing their hands, they were just wearing gloves, and touching doorknobs, and then their supplies, and desks, and phones, and everything. I'm pretty sure they were transferring more germs than blocking. Not a chef, but I have worked in food service. Your food is not going to be any cleaner if it's prepared by an employee wearing gloves versus an employee using their bare hands. I promise you that the people preparing your food are not changing their gloves nearly as often as you expect, and they are definitely not washing their hands in between glove changes every single time. Also, if I recall correctly, there was a study that found that people actually wash their hands less and cross-contaminate more when they are wearing gloves. No matter how thin you slice it, garlic will not liquefy in the pan. I blame Goodfellas. Some people argue that the reason that bit was included in the movie was as a subtle hint that these mobsters don't actually know what the hell they are talking about a lot of the time. No 10-minute meal takes 10 minutes. Maybe 30. It does take just 10 minutes if you follow the video and cut one onion and then magically turn it into a bowl of 5 cut onions. Don't forget how quick and easy it is to have all the dry ingredients pre-measured in spare bowls ready to go. Just wash your damned mushrooms. This should be higher. The mushrooms are mostly water by weight. Washing dirt off the surface won't make them any more wet than cooking them will. Your pasta water should taste like the sea. First of all, the sea is way saltier than you think. Secondly, if you actually salted your water that heavily, the pasta would be inedible. This is an interesting one. For pasta, it is definitely going to make it inedible. However, I have had potatoes boiled in seawater, and it was good. Assuming there's one right or authentic way. Almost nothing is the one, definitive, most correct, and authentic way of anything. Cuisine changes constantly as borders adjust, and people move and tastes change. Techniques change right alongside the cuisine, so just relax, and have fun, and do what tastes best. Thinking underseasoned means it needs more salt. It may, but it may also need an acid or a base, or something bitter, or sweet, or some umami to balance it out. When I need to adjust seasoning, I like to start with the acid, since that's the easiest to correct if you're wrong, and then go from there. Cooking joint of meat by weight. 20 minutes per 500 grams, etc. Cook to temperatures, and invest in a meat probe. Avoiding a decent wooden chopping board because of contamination. People I know have these awful glass chopping boards for that reason, and they just feel unsafe to cut on because the knife slips around. Glass also dulls knives very rapidly. I break the spaghetti in half, sue me. Clicking the tongs 3 times before using. I've used it just fine with 1 or 2. Blasphemy. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more. Have a nice evening.